Okay, we are back. This might seem familiar. We have the same game as I've already reviewed on this channel, but from a different point of view. I believe this is actually the friend of Captain Mashy, whose excellent Emma Frost we reviewed earlier. Today we're watching Ivanthedino, who is playing Cloak and Dagger. And he is struggling with his ult timing in particular, and keeping himself alive. So we're going to try and help. I play quite a lot of support, so should be able to be of use. So, how do you win games as Cloak and Dagger? It's really two main ways. The first, like any support or any character, is just doing damage and killing people. Cloak and Dagger has quite a decent amount of damage. Combined with your Terror Cape, I think it's called, you can actually kill people. Now you're unlikely to want to be actually going all the way up into them. So the most common kills that you'll get on Cloak are kills when people jump on top of you. Over-pushing tanks and over-pushing divers. So that's one angle. And the second, and probably most important, is basically the ult game and the ult economy. If you can farm your ult faster than the other supports, and just over the game use more ults than them at better times, kind of like you say in your post, you'll have a lot of success. Generally, if you're at a stalemate in a choke, the first Cloak and Dagger to ult will win the fight, provided especially if the other team does not have the ult, right? It's almost impossible to win a fight when one support ults and the other team doesn't have anything, right? It's just such a massive disadvantage. So that's another way that you can win games. So we'll be looking out for that. Now I do remember actually that in this match, Ivanthedino and Captain Mashy's team do get all the way to point 3, so I'm not going to watch that because they're kind of winning. I'd rather look at the points where they struggle. So let's get into it. So, starting off, Ivanthedino is standing up on this rock, which is an interesting position I've never seen before. I guess it's okay. Just play it out.
The Fantastic Four is my family. They mean more to me than anything. I'm clocking some bad guys.
Who am I? Invisible?
I'm not sure I like this positioning, being frank. This is why. You're having to stop looking at your team for quite a while to heal this one guy here. So while you're doing this relatively slowly, Cloak doesn't heal that fast. Your team is fighting and getting bullied over here. I'd much rather you stand down here. And this is common for all supports really, but yeah, you generally want to be standing kind of in a line for most of the time. There are obviously times when you need to move and reposition, but the thing about Rivals is that a lot of the supports have benefit quite a lot from having their heals pass through a number of people or their damage. You've got Cloak's windows, Luna's clap that goes through people, and Invisible Woman's just primary fire that goes through people as well. So that's why you often see the supports standing kind of in a very strict line in the choke behind. Obviously makes you relatively vulnerable, but it is the best way to generate a lot of ult charge. So I think you should probably be standing around here. You can keep it dynamic, but yeah, you'll be just getting more value there. You can see more, and your windows will be passing through more people. Okay, so yeah, I really don't like this. I definitely think you should be down. This is just not, you're not getting very much value. You also haven't used either of your abilities so far, which is not ideal. I think you should be especially using your window because that will generate your ult charge faster, which is one of the win conditions that we set at the start. You're welcome to keep the bubble for yourself in case they have, you know, divers or whatnot, but certainly you should be using the window more commonly. Okay, you're forced down here. This is a much better spot. Healing up. I don't think you needed that bubble. I think she was going to survive. The Jeff has already left. No need to panic. You definitely want to keep that cooldown. It's very important. What if they had a Black Panther who jumped you at this moment? You'd probably be dead. So yeah, I'd be looking to fire your window off here. Just use it more often. Generate ult charge, keep your team alive. Okay. Cloak and Dagger has two forms, right? And when your team is full health like this, I think you definitely want to be using that opportunity to switch into your cloak form and fire a window and do a little bit of damage, because that also generates ult charge. You really need to be getting the maximum out of your character, and so far you've used one bubble and just fired a bunch of primaries, which is, you know, you're at 45%, which is not great. And yeah, wow, okay, exactly. So enemy cloak already has their ult, and you're at 57%. So that's really, this is exactly what I was talking about at the start. That's very damning. I suspect they might win this fight because you guys are so far off. And you know, if you're struggling to actually get to the ult charge just by healing, then you need to be doing damage, right? There's two ways of getting there. If there's no healing to be done, then you need to be pressing up and doing damage, because otherwise you're not offering anything really, and now they're going to ult in and win the fight. Let's see how it goes. Okay, heal your team up. Yeah, I quite like that bubble, just to stabilize things. You didn't really need it, but I can understand why you did it. Okay, first window of the game, pretty terrible. Yeah, I think you wanted to put it, you know, through these guys probably. I guess it was a bit of a panic. That's fine, but yeah, try and hit multiple people with the window if possible. And yeah, this is a disaster. So I feel rather vindicated here. So this is exactly what I was saying. So the first team that gets their support ult is just going to blast through and win the fight if you don't have yours. So I would actually say that this loss of the point is on you. Other people might have made some mistakes, but this, yeah, you definitely could have done better. And I don't think you've actually switched into cloak form once this round, which is definitely a mistake as well. You should be using those very commonly. You know, unless you're being pressed really hard, and you just have to heal all the time. But that wasn't the case. It was quite dead and quite a stalemate. And so you should definitely have been doing some damage, and at least just fire off your blind, your terror cape, right? That helps your team out in the fight. And you haven't used that at all, so you're not getting the most out of your character at all. Okay. So you lose the point because you couldn't farm your alt charge fast enough. This is a bit of a weird spot here. I would just try and go behind your team for the reasons I mentioned earlier. Because now, yeah, you're going to get pincered by these guys. Look at this guy. He sees you, and this is the freest kill of his career. You don't want to be here. So you're going to have to blow all your cooldowns and run away. Yeah, he's still chasing you. He might even get you 37 HP. Yep, there we go. Okay, so that was a big mistake as well. You should be with your team rather than split off in the corner. So now anything that happens here is largely your fault too.
Don't you put me out.
Let's get back to the fight. Okay, that doesn't really matter, although ideally you wouldn't. You should know the fight is already lost and not get staggered. But yeah, this is less bad because they're just pressing forward with a bunch of alts. So whatever. Let's get back to it. Okay, so get into cloak form here and start killing this guy. Put your blind on him and start killing him. You need to maximize your damage. Look, both of these two are full health. You should be helping out with the damage. Okay, Visible Woman stabilizes the point. So I would be thinking, when you've got these double support outs like this, you're thinking, okay, look, everyone is sitting inside this Invisible Woman alt. The enemy knows that, and the enemy is going to be preparing to use their alts as soon as it ends, right? Now, the chances, as chance happens, they don't actually have them, but generally, it's very common. People wait out one of the support alts and then pop theirs, right? Especially DPS, that kind of thing. So you should be fingers on the trigger, so to speak, with your alt as soon as this Invisible Woman one ends, because you should be expecting the enemy to use theirs. You don't actually pop it immediately, but just be prepared for, enemy Bucky or Storm or whoever to pop theirs. I know they don't have those characters, it's just an example. You should be definitely thinking, I'm going to ult as soon as this Invisible Woman ult ends, if someone else pops theirs, because that happens all the time. So, enemy Cloak has now ulted twice before you've ulted once. That's really bad. So, I guess you're going to have to counter ult here. But that is, genuinely the reason why you've lost a whole point. Okay. And yeah, you get pancaked by Magneto. Yikes. Okay, so you know they have a Magneto on their team. This is a really common interaction, right? And if you play Cloak, you're going to have to learn to deal with it. Magneto is a really popular character and everyone knows how to do this. So one of the best ways to avoid this, well, you've got two options really. You waste a few of your charges, a few of your dashes of the ult into some, and try and find cover, right? Or do a turn into a room or something to avoid the ult. And your second is actually taking the ult in cloak form and then immediately pressing your Terror Cape, which can work. I'm sorry, not Terror Cape, the shift, whatever it is, the little invisibility. So you actually do this ult as Dagger form, I believe, and this is not good because then you're just a sitting duck when it ends and Magneto kills you. So if you're in cloak form here, you could pop your shift. Is it shift? No, it's not shift. Right click, whatever. you could pop your right click and you would be safe from Magneto here, but you don't do that and you get killed. So that's also pretty bad. I mean, sometimes it can be hard to avoid this. It is an ult for ult trade, but yeah, this was a case where I think you could have been safe. Okay, so difficult, really difficult round so far. Okay, this is fine, and I still actually don't think I've seen you change into cloak form once this round. That is just, yeah, not acceptable at all, really. You need to be using the full capabilities of your kit. Yeah, you're playing half a character essentially, right? And you're barely even using the window to do anything. So you're just playing, basic attacking and getting 30% of the character's value, I would say. Use the bubble decently to protect yourself, but otherwise you're not using any of the abilities. This is fine. I actually don't hate this position. I would be using my window here. And again, as I was saying, should be changing into cloak form, pushing up, using your window, and then retreating. Okay. So you could be hitting this guy with a dark window, the cloak window, to reduce his vision so he can't see your guys as easily. And then maybe waste some of his ult. Yeah, I understand why you did that. Turns out you didn't actually need it, but then I think you should. It turns out your team actually gets him, but you should be, you dodge this as cloak. That read now is really out of position. You should be turning around and killing him, helping finish him off. Yeah, it's fortunate that your Jonathan the Storm managed to kill him, because yeah, you should have helped that really. This is a great opportunity for the window, which you don't use. Yeah, good reaction to the Jeff. Unfortunate there. He was in quite a good position. Let's see what you could have done. So, take a couple of shots, throw down your bubble, change into cloak form, and then yeah, I think you had time to use your right click and save yourself. But yeah, it was a good attack by Jeff. So unfortunate. That is probably your least bad death this game. That does happen. So not too fussed about that one. But now you should be thinking, okay, Jeff is probably going to keep doing that all game. So you need to be more ready. Okay. There, see, well done. So you've identified, Jeff has just done this to me. I need to be ready to deal with it, and you are. So you should be in your cloak form, pushing him away. So I reckon if you were in your form that does more damage, you would have actually got the kill there. You should have blinded him and attacked him. Cloak's actually relatively good at dealing with Jeff because of the auto aim. But just firing your primaries in dagger form at him is useless, especially if he's if he's underground. He'll heal more than the damage you're doing, so that's definitely useless. Fire your window down this ramp. It's a perfect size. You'll get loads of healing, and charge your ult. I still barely have seen you use the window this game. I think you've used it once. So you can, when Jeff uses that ult, you can try and use your right click to save everyone. Difficult to do, you have to be quite quick, but it's possible. It's worth thinking about. It's a useful interaction. As it happens, it wasn't a very good Jeff ult, and you managed to avoid it anyway. But yeah, you should be ready with that, I would say. Okay. A decent ult. You kind of overlapped a couple of the dashes, which is not ideal because they don't stack anymore. They used to, but now you just usually want to layer out as much as possible. So you could have perhaps, you know, got covered a bit more here. I mean, this point is slightly special because it's so tight, so it's not really the worst, but something worth thinking about as well. Try and, you know, cover as much ground as possible and then get back to safety. That's generally what you want to do with this ultimate. And then, of course, definitely be in cloak form. Well, there we go. Did you use your window? Yes, you did. Good job. Yeah, well, definitely don't need to be healing, right? They're standing on your ultimate. Get back into cloak form and do some damage. Good job, well healed. Okay. Oh, okay. So let's look at this from the view of the enemy Cloak and Dagger. So what is he doing that you're not? So he ults, then throws his window and pushes forward with his damage form. Exactly. So this is what I've been saying that you should do all game. Definitely need to be more aggressive on your side, and that's why he's getting a lot of value and you aren't. And then I guess they just push through and score. Change to Luna here. Interesting. Do you play? I think okay, you continue playing Cloak, so I think I'm going to stop it here. I do just want to check one thing though. So on the first point, there is an enemy Cloak and Dagger who got their ult very quickly. So let's see what they actually do. So you're at 8%, he's at 27%. So perfect. So this is exactly what I was saying, right? Quick change to the cloak form, pushes the window through, and then straight back to healing, right? Costs you almost nothing and generates a bunch of ult charge, which you should be doing all the time. Get some healing here. To be honest, I don't actually like their position. They're quite pushed up, but yeah, they're just generating a lot of pressure. Good.
Everybody needs a hand sometimes. Or a dagger.
They're already at 66%. So, and then I've got that up. So compare that to you just kind of standing either up here on this little pillar or at the back, just firing your primaries. Quite a big difference, I would say. And I don't even think he played this perfectly, right? He's at the same rank as you, and he could have done a lot more damage. It saved his team, etc. But just generally a lot more active, and that's why he gets rewarded with getting his ult much faster. So I think I'm going to finish it there. Lots to work on. Don't really need to watch the rest of the match. Your concern was timing your ults or something, but I actually think you've got a lot of other things to think about first. So yeah, the overwhelming point would be just you need to be getting more value out of your character. You're barely using your cooldowns. And when you do, they're not, you know, super well done. So keep swapping forms, keep using your both windows off cooldown, generate your ult faster, and then you'll be able to keep up with the other healers and the ult economy. And then the second thing is I think you could be much more aggressive with your damage form when people don't need healing. Hope that helps. Good luck in your next few games.